morning edition, hear how a new COVID-19 positive test affects the business of Parliament.
The health experts indicate that those persons who may have been exposed, as they have been exposed for an extended period of time, they should quarantine themselves.
Plus, major hotels like Bahama are preparing for a rebound in the #1 industry.
Bahamas is in a very good position for a competitive advantage beyond other destinations internationally for tourism.
And tourism officials still eyeing October 15th as an opening date for the industry.
We're working with our public health officials to see what is feasible.
We've got those stories and much more when the morning edition comes right back.
The body of the Bahamas Association of Medical Technologists, or BAMAT, offer this pronouncement because our celebratory activities were suspended. We wish to say thank you to all essential healthcare workers, police and defense force officers, and to encourage the youth of this nation to seek out fields in the medical laboratory profession, and to let you know that this is a viable option for a successful and rewarding career. Scholarships are available through the Ministries of Health and Education to help you reach your goals. This announcement is brought to you by the Bahamas Association of Medical Technologists in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
COVID-19 impacting procedures of Parliament. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Today's session of the House of Assembly is expected to be an extraordinary one after a staff member of the lower chamber was tested positive for the virus. This morning's session is expected to be short with a reduced number of members physically in attendance. Here's House Speaker, the Honorable Halson Moultrie, on the plan of action.
The Constitution under Article 55(1) permits the Parliament, both houses of Parliament, to regulate their own procedure. And so I'm of the view that the Parliament can actually determine whether the Parliament can sit face-to-face and in combination virtually, or completely strictly virtually, or even within another location that is larger, that can accommodate the physical distancing requirement. I propose a resolution. The resolution can be accepted or rejected by the government side. We have to await the majority party and the leader of government business, who is also the Minister of Health. I believe he would address the Parliament with respect to the agenda, as well as the new the protocol and the procedures with respect to member being tested positive.
Now, both the House of Assembly and the Senate have been deep cleaned and sanitized. The Ministry of Health has initiated contact tracing to determine the level of exposure. Mr. Moultrie also comments on this move.
The health experts indicate that those persons who may have been exposed, as they have been exposed for an extended period of time, they should quarantine themselves for at least 7 days, since it would have been 7 days since the House last met. Those members of the House of Parliament, that is. On the other hand, staff members who may have continually been in contact with that staff member should quarantine for at least the 14 days minimum from the last contact.
Leader Leader of Opposition Business in the House of Assembly, Paiswell Forbes, confirming in a statement last evening that the opposition's parliamentary team will not attend today's House of Assembly proceedings due to the COVID-19 positive by a staff member. Forbes indicated that opposition leader Philip Davis tried unsuccessfully to reach the Prime Minister about the resumption of Parliament because the party believes that parliamentarians would be sending the wrong message to the Bahamian people and potentially expose House members to an unnecessary risk. The Cabinet Office released a statement confirming the deep cleaning and sanitization of the House of Assembly and Senate on Tuesday. Once again, the Cabinet Office also confirmed that today House of Assembly meeting will be a short session with a reduced number of members physically in attendance. The latest numbers put to the COVID-19 count nationwide at 3,032. This following an additional 24 cases, 20 here in New Providence, 1 each in Grand Bahama and Long Island, and 2 with locations pending. Health officials also confirming an additional non-COVID related death, and another death is under investigation. Despite the current pandemic, Bahama executives are looking forward to the day when they can welcome guests. Officials say despite the dismal situation, the destination still has what it takes to draw visitors back. And now Bahama is preparing to the tune of $300 million to make the visitor experience even better. Here's Keishla Adderley.
Davis says company executives could consider a phased reopening if feasible, but ever the optimist, he prefers to look to the future, which includes the $300 million development now underway at the property.
Baja Bay water features, they're well under construction. That will open up next year in 2020. We have our Marcus Samuelson restaurant well under construction along our beachfront. And in addition to that, we have significant amount of retail under construction. Sugar Factory restaurant well underway in construction as well. So we have some great new experiences that we are making that investment now while we're closed. So when we do reopen at the earliest, it will be additionally exceptional.
Rooms may be empty for now, but Bahamar is confident that it still has the competitive edge to draw COVID-19 wary guests.
We'll see our transient business come back first, and then we'll see our group business to follow suit. I think once the vaccine comes out and once the COVID crisis is passed, we'll see that group business and incentive business to come back to the Bahamas as well. But it's going to be a slow process until this coronavirus is wiped out.
Locally, tourism has slowed to a crawl, and according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization report issued in May, international tourist numbers were forecast to fall between 60 and 80% in 2020. But Davis believes the Bahamas hasn't lost any of its appeal.
Bahamas is in a very good position for a competitive advantage beyond other destinations internationally for tourism. We're so close to the United States, very easy access to get here. Our airline partners are ready. As soon as the demand is there, they're ready to add flights back on. We have the pre-clearance back to the United States upon departure. It is a very easy destination, a very safe destination to come to. And that is certainly a competitive advantage, providing that we have a flatline level of COVID cases here in the Bahamas.
With millions of dollars in losses and counting, we asked Davis how long it could sustain its commitments, especially considering COVID-19's indefinite timelines.
We're taking it 90 days at a time. We have a tremendous ownership group that has the sustainability and certainly the business acumen to be able to support our associates. We're very, very fortunate here to have CTFE as our ownership group here at Bahamar, and they have been very, very supportive since day one.
Keishla Adderley, ZNS Network News.
Minister of Tourism and Aviation, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, says a move by a number of major hotels to push back the reopening dates due to the COVID-19 pandemic did not surprise the government. This as Bahamar has pushed back its reopening indefinitely, while Atlantis announced that it will continue to evaluate its reopening timeline.
We were well aware of the position of a number of the hotels. Clearly, Bahama made an announcement in July that they would be opening on October the 1st. And when I had my press conference, I said we'd be opening on October the 15th. So obviously we've been in discussions with Bahama and with Atlantis. And we were well aware that they were not going to open on, certainly not on October the 1st. A number of those large hotels indicated that they wanted to wait until after the American election, possibly open just before Thanksgiving, possibly before Christmas. And we said, okay, fine, that's fair enough. But we're going to go ahead and announce on October the 15th to get the ball rolling.
Minister de Aguila also responded to comments from Bahama President Graham Davis, who indicated on this newscast last evening that the resort can't reconcile restricted movement with the vacation experience guests are seeking.
Any time that you have to be in a particular place for up to 14 days, it's not as long as 14 days, people are going to see that as a problem. So, for example, the Dominican Republic today, on the 15th of September, is opening up their entire country to no testing and no quarantine. Mexico presently has that. And so that's what the competition is doing. But I don't think we are prepared to go to the extent that they have to open their economy. So, you know, we're working with our public health officials to see what is feasible. Graham Davis is probably right. If I'm thinking about traveling to a destination.
And still to come, your live traffic commute. You're watching The Morning Edition.
The ZNS community page now has its own home on Channel 230. Be sure to tune into this channel to see informative notices, funeral announcements, birthday greetings, and much, much more. So watch the ZNS community channel today on Cable 230.
Medical technologists, with the help of lab aides and phlebotomists, test all bodily fluids to provide results. Without this group of professionals, the physicians, surgeons, and nurses will be handicapped in the management of their patients. Our test results clearly indicates if you suffer from any kind of disease or illness, be it cancer, diabetes, AIDS, or even the flu. It is important to note that even while you are asleep, we're testing. While you're in isolation, we're testing. While you are in lockdown, we are testing. BAMAT wishes you to remember that medical technologists, phlebotomists, medical technicians, cytologists, cytotechnicians, histologists, histotechnicians, microbiologists, pathologists, and lab aides all work as a team to get results for you. So please, stay home for us. This announcement is brought to you by the Bahamas Association of Medical Technologists in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
now take you out to the Samilo Butler Highway, where Lloyd Allen and the traffic team will discuss child safety matters while driving.
Buy Bahamas first. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Good morning, Bahamas. We're giving you a first look at your Hump Wednesday traffic. This one coming in from the area of Samilo Butler. We're on standby, Wims. Standby, we're getting ready. Just let me know when to walk in. Well, good morning, Ladon. Good morning, Bahamas. It's a first look at your Hump Wednesday traffic, and this one coming in from the area of Samilo Butler Highway. As you can see from our drone shot, traffic is nice and healthy as it builds this morning. That's the northbound lane heading into the downtown and other areas on the island for persons coming out of the southwestern district. Of course, if you do happen to traverse this area, your wait time shouldn't be more than about 5 to 10 minutes as traffic is flowing nice and smoothly. This morning, we're also joined by Corporal Christopher Wims from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, giving you an initial look at overnight traffic.
Good morning, Lloyd. Good morning, Bahamas. We had a quiet night, however, last night, over a 24-hour period. We had a total of 12 accidents, 4 minor, 8 minor, with minor damages. However, 3 with injuries, but 1 we had a loss of life. We had a white Nissan no traveling east along East Bay in the area of Montague Beach. That collided into a burgundy Honda Accord that was traveling west along East Bay. However, the male lost his life. 3 persons were taken to the hospital where they are in ICU, being sought seeking help. We want to remind the public that safety first. At this point, it's just about safety. We here at the traffic department, we're here to educate, to make you aware, and to enforce the road traffic laws. But when we lose in life like this, it hurts all of us as a nation. So we want to remind people to take time, drive with due care and plenty of attention.
Now, I'm also aware that for one of those incidents yesterday, a child was involved. And this morning, we're talking about child safety. Now, there are several bits of advice that we can offer to motorists who do happen to have children in their vehicles. Of course, one of those obvious tips they would want to follow is the proper use of seatbelts. Any other general tips and advice for motorists as they're traversing with children?
All right. Now, in that incident yesterday evening, a 1-year-old who wasn't properly secured in a child seat, the vehicle collided while traveling southbound on Market Street, and the child sustained injuries. And that hurts us because that's a defenseless child. We're asking parents, we know this is the school time, and you have to carry your children to get the food, the shoe size, and the uniform sizes. Make sure you have the proper seat for your child. If your child is around the age of 12, they should be around the age where they can fasten the seatbelt. But anything under that, we have toddler seat, infant seats, high seats, all those things you have at your disposal to use. But I must cut in and say we must warn motoring public along the Eastern Road once you get past Waterloo Club that there is a oil slippage in that area. Ministry of Works was made aware. However, we're asking the public to drive very cautiously in that area because the oil still might be on the ground. So we just want to make sure that they get to where they're going nice and safe.
And then finally, here in the country, we know that many of our highways and busy thoroughfares are very interesting, to say the least. And so using rearview mirrors are critically important. Any general tips, finally, that you can offer to motorists when it comes to traversing many of the roads here in the capital and around the country?
Oh, yes. The rearview mirror, the side view mirrors, they are there for a reason. When making a right turn, because we drive on the left side, when making a right turn, it's always proper to look in your rear view, your side view mirror, while you're signaling to make that right turn, to make sure that there isn't another car that is trying to overtake. When you're making a left, I suggest you do the same. We want to ensure that you get to where you're going without having the headache of damages to your car or injuries to yourself or someone else.
And so, of course, this morning we're talking about safety in your vehicles as well as safety for your children or those young passengers as you're making your rounds around the country. This morning, again, traffic is flowing nice and smoothly along the Somalia Butler Highway. There is some holdup, but if you do use this route, it shouldn't take more than about 5 to 10 minutes to get to your destination and beyond this highway. Reporting here from the Somalia Butler Highway for the morning edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. Now, Fisher, I know you have a story to tell us this morning about Loretta Mackey. She's Assistant Commissioner in charge of Family Island Policing. Tell us more about this story.
She's also an island girl like yourself. Mm-hmm. She's a trendsetter. I had a very interesting interview with her. I learned a lot of things. This woman is very, very intelligent. She's an assistant commissioner. We haven't had much of those ladies for quite some time. And you and I were talking offset yesterday, and a question you asked me about all these police ladies that I've been interviewing, she's going to answer that question for you today.
Okay.
So I know you're quite interesting. Also on our Facebook page, we've been hearing persons ask, how come police women end up with police husbands?
Right.
So I put that question to her, and as you'll hear in this story from Assistant Commissioner of Police Loretta Mackey.
A native of Long Island, Assistant Commissioner of Police Loretta Mackey knew her reason for joining the force some 37 years ago was to serve her country.
My mom, she made sure that whatever we were doing, whether it was assisting other older persons in the community, church, and that kind of thing, so that more got me into the attitude of service.
After graduation, she was first employed in New Providence and has worked her way around from local stations, spent time in Grand Bahama, returning to New Providence after she got married, worked the stations again, on to the traffic division, CID, where she specialized in fraud and commercial crime.
And after training, I would have captured the prestigious Baton of Honor. And after about 8 years, I went back to Grand Bahama with my family then, 2 girls and my husband, who was a police officer at the time. I worked in Lucaya Police Station, where I worked as the inspector. I worked in 8 Mile Rock. The second time I was the commander. And so I took that opportunity to form youth group, and then we did neighborhood watch. And that was important because you have to get the community involved in your policing. We can't do it alone. I prosecuted, then I took over prosecutions. I was in charge of the neighborhood community policing. I also was the coordinator for the victim support. And during this, for about 8 years, I was also the press liaison officer for Grand Bahama and Northern Bahamas. And that was a very good experience for me, and I got a lot of information and the community, interaction with the community. And then, of course, I built good friendship with the media persons, too, at that time. I also worked in the urban renewal. After Frances and Jean, those 2 main women, that was a very good experience, getting into the community, seeing the needs of people and how best we can facilitate, making the connection with the different agencies and the persons who had needs.
So just how was the transition from being in the big city to the real big city of Nassau?
I'm open to change, and change is inevitable, and I think that's why I was able to make the change so easily. On the 20th of April this year, I was notified by the commissioner to come in for a meeting. And on my arrival here, I got a letter of appointment to the rank of assistant commissioner. And then before I even could enjoy that, 5 minutes later, he slid another envelope across the table to me, and there was my transfer. And it was effective for the 4th of May. So I had 2 weeks to go back to Grand Bahama, pack my bags, and came back to Nassau. I'm enjoying it, actually.
She is somewhat of a trendsetter.
I am the 4th female to serve at the rank of assistant commissioner. We had Bernita Colebrook, and then we had Carolyn Bowe, and then Ismella Delancey, and now myself. So I don't take it lightly. We've been around for almost 56 years. Women were allowed to join back in 1964. We work shoulder to shoulder with our counterparts, our male officers, and we have garnered the respect of them. The females bring a different aspect of policing to it, maybe because of the mother's instinct, but we like to make sure that everybody is fed, so to speak. everybody is heard. And 'cause a lot of times we only hear those persons who are speaking loud and not the persons who are just sitting there in silence. Sometimes we can overlook the invisible employee who is making that commitment and dedication and sacrifice.
Markey leads a balanced life thanks to some outside influence.
If I sit here and not acknowledge my husband and my children, and my church family, friends, and colleagues, it would be remiss of me. You need support, particularly climbing the stair of success in the Royal Bahamas Police Force from a recruit to Assistant Commissioner for Family Island. God has been good. He's amazing.
Now, most of the police women I have interviewed have police husbands. So, how is this?
And I guess you're in training, 6 months there in training, you pick somebody, you fall in love with somebody, and you marry. But I had a good pick, Ted Mackey. Oh, he's a Patriot fan, so he had a ball on Sunday. I don't know if that fate would have it.
So, LaDawn, now you see how it works. At least of the 6 women I've interviewed, at least 5 of them are married to police officers, met in training, been together now for about 30-something years.
Gosh. She said they'd be on the line and she just picks them in training. So, Fisher, are you going to be able to, I guess, get 2 sisters or a father and a daughter that's on the force? We would love to see something like that. We got to send that out to the public.
Sounds like a good story idea, but what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow, you know, Markey, she's in charge of the Family Islands. She's going to take us in depth of how to communicate with all officers on the Family Island, transfers, promotions. I told her I had an interesting conversation with her yesterday. It was one of my best interviews I've done in quite some time. Even after we finished the interview, we just sat down and we talked about some things because I knew her back from when I was in Freeport about a couple of years ago. And you heard that she was on the force for 37 years, and you were saying just now you were wondering what she was doing in 1964. I sure Gator wanted to know what she was doing.
I wasn't even a thought yet.
So everybody wants to know, what were you doing in 1964, grade 2 or grade 3?
I wasn't even here. Thank you so much, Fisher. Thank you so much. As the government gradually reopens various sectors of the economy, some local businesses are trying to cope with day-to-day operations. Jay Philippe tells us how business in the downtown area of Grand Bahama are adjusting to the new norm.
Lockdown measures have been relaxed a little around the island of Grand Bahama. For many, it means a chance to get out and do things once considered normal. For businesses, it's an opportunity to capitalize on increasing their revenue. The downtown area has had its share of ups and downs, but for Cashwell Store, General Manager Mason Curry says they are grateful to be open.
A lot of persons are trying their best to get stuff for their kids, and computers, laptops, and stuff like that, things like that would have been requested. But the difficulty is getting them from the States right now to bring them in. We normally do a system as a 30-day turnover, and because we was closed so long, we don't have anything to turn over to bring out. So we're giving people an opportunity to pay for their stuff because of COVID, and we understand and we sympathize with everyone who had their difficulties with the loss of jobs and everything, so we're giving them time. So that's restraining us from bringing stuff out on the floor to sell.
Over at John West Shoe Store, customers can be seen shopping for shoes as schools around the island are expected to resume on-campus learning October 5th.
Being able to be open now and seeing some senses of normalcy is relieving. And with the back-to-school season, we could see the stress on the person's face when they come in there to rush and get things for their kids. But it's just a situation that we're living in, and we're taking it one day at a time.
West says one of the biggest challenges the business has faced is restarting their operations with ordering new inventory.
When it comes to any retail business, timing is important. With us open and closing, that might have thrown the timing off a bit, with the months being basically empty months, that is. But we're trying to get on track. We're starting to get on track with the Valeria coming in and bringing in things, what's not, and we're getting it done.
Smaller stores like All About You Clothing and Accessory Store, owned by Tanya McIntosh, has had some challenges with meeting financial deadlines, but McIntosh remains optimistic that sales will improve.
It's really quiet, but, you know, we try to put the customers first and, you know, support. We want the people of Freeport to support us, you know, because we're here, hopefully, for the long haul. And if you come to support us, it's a partnership. We need you to help us. Right now, downtown is really, really needing a miracle.
She's hoping that business gets back to normal quickly.
To be honest, I thank God for my landlord. He's been very understanding. You know, I've been other places where they just wanted the money, but he's been very helpful and he's been very understanding. So we work it out.
I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
It's several months to go before the busy holiday season rolls in, and it's a time when Bahamians get their houses in order by remodeling coverings of old furniture. Well, a young Bahamian is turning old into new through his upholstery business in the midst of COVID-19.
An hour later, my friend showed up with the money for me to go to school, and that's how it all started.
Taking up that offer by a friend and eventually starting his own business in upholstery came quite handy for 39-year-old Javon Colberg. You see, Colberg was laid off from the Atlantis Resort earlier this year due to the pandemic, which dealt a severe blow to the hotel sector and the country's tourism product. And as you can imagine, finances for many businesses, including Colberg's Upholstery, have been stretched to the limit. But there's a bright light, though, as Colberg says so far business, even in the midst of a global pandemic, has been pretty good.
You get out there, nobody knows who you are. They haven't seen no work. But after you start to do some good work, people get to know the name. I started social media about 3 years back, and from then, I've been busy straight through. I do anything from barber chairs, recliners. I even do outdoor furniture. Anything you name, basically a whole cloth I can do. The only thing I haven't worked on yet is probably an airplane, but everything else I've covered.
While upholstery tools can be very expensive, Javon says the finished product is worth it.
If you got a measurement of 30, you cut a measurement of 31, because you always want a half an inch over, right? So when you sew, it fits properly. So that's the first thing with doing measurements. Now, when it comes down to repairs, I do every repairs and broken springs, broken handles. I even had a situation where I had a chair that was in a fire, and I basically had to rebuild the handle, rebuild the front of it, and go from there.
The entrepreneur is expecting business to get even busier by the end of the month and well into the new year, but he remains hopeful that more individuals will tap into the market.
Don't be afraid to do anything that you think you can like, because if when it comes to sewing, you have a lot of time to think, and you need patience, and that's something I didn't have, and I had to learn patience, so just take your time, think about it. If you're going to do it, go straight through and do the whole thing. Because upholstery, you really can make it from it. I've been doing this now saying, that's what, 19 years? 19 years, and it hasn't failed me whether I work day by day or I on days from the hotel.
And still to come, hear how a local artist has turned his inspiration into reality. That story and more in the Morning Edition continues.
TV. Look, I on TV. Mom, guess what it is? That's me. Bartender, do you see me? I on television. I gotta tell my girlfriend I on television.
Hello?
Babe, turn your television to ZNS. Quick, I'm on television.
I don't have a TV in there.
We have Wi-Fi, though.
We have Wi-Fi.
That's fine. They upgrade now. You can watch it live from your phone. You just have to download the app.
All right, hold on.
Go to the App Store, type in ZNS, download the app, and you'll be able to watch ZNS straight from your phone. Hurry up and start over again.
Get your news and more anytime, anywhere with the new ZNS app. Stay connected from around the globe with our live stream news updates, all in the palm of your hand. You can also listen to the ZNS Radio Network for your favorite music. Go into your Apple or Google Play Store and download the ZNS app today.
Present check. Miss I's star now. I still gotta pay.
When a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, it is extremely important to be prepared and know just what to do. Stay informed about the storm's path by listening to the radio or television for hurricane progress reports. Check emergency food and household supplies. Be sure you have extra batteries for flashlights and radios.
Bring in outdoor items like lawn furniture and garden tools. Anchor objects that cannot be brought inside. Secure buildings by closing and boarding up windows. Remove outside antennas and satellite dishes. Turn refrigerators and freezers to the coldest settings, opening only when absolutely necessary and closing quickly. Purchase ice and store it in an ice chest. Keep drinking water in clean jugs and bottles. Clean your bathtub with bleach and fill it with water for washing and flushing, not for drinking, making sure to keep the bathroom door closed so that small children cannot access the filled tub. Do not go out to videotape or take photos of the storm. Take pictures from inside where it is safe and dry. There is no harm in being overly cautious where a hurricane is concerned. It is truly better to be safe than sorry. This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency.
The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah.
When you respond to the word of God and you begin to speak the word of God and you begin to live the word of God and you begin to act out on the word of God, you will find that there will be a transformed life. And when there is a transformed life, there will be a transformed home. And when there's a transformed home, there'll be a transformed church. And when there's a transformed church, there'll be a transformed community. I'm telling you, you have to respond to the word.
Influenza, or the flu as it is commonly called, is a viral illness that usually occurs between the months October to March. The virus is transmitted from person to person through coughing, sneezing, or talking. Symptoms include fever, cough, headache, runny nose, generalized body aches, and fatigue. There is no specific treatment for the flu, and the symptoms usually dissipate after 3 to 7 days. Because it is caused by a virus, antibiotics are not used to treat the flu. Persons are encouraged to rest and drink lots of fluids. Panadol is recommended for fever and body aches associated with the flu. However, aspirin should be avoided due to the risk of bleeding. To decrease the spread of flu, persons are encouraged to get their flu shot annually and practice good cough hygiene. Additional information can be provided by your community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
The island of Abaco continues to rebuild following monster storm Dorian. Cleanup efforts are a top priority. J&G Pavers have been assisting with those efforts to collect debris. Project manager of the company, Ree Williams, says they monitor the amount of debris coming in from all parts of the island and the surrounding keys by government contractors as well as business and homeowners.
What we do is we monitor the debris coming in by basically measuring and weighing it. We are able to assess the type of debris and then sort the type of debris as we place it in the various areas of the site. And the purpose for that is so that in the longer term, we will be able to possibly salvage, recycle, and move debris away, but it'll be done in an organized manner.
Williams says the company collects a wide range of debris.
We have a lot of sheetrock, we have a lot of asphalt shingles, we have a lot of concrete, we have a lot of roofing. There's a lot of as well like insulation and air conditioning, ductwork and that kind of stuff. We have a lot of appliances. I mean, you're talking about people's actual lives, right? All wrapped up into what we have here. But I think back in May, June, we were at about 1.6 million cubic yards of debris. And so that's a hefty amount. And this is only one of the debris management sites on the island right now.
For decades, 60-year-old artist Jeff Lewis has been painting, receiving the bug as a child. The painter usually moves across the island, painting buildings and other views that catch his eyes. These days, he sets up shop on the corner of Montrose Avenue. Lewis says he has no formal training, but is inspired by Bahamian artists like Eddie Minnis.
I'm an artist, you know, anything I like, I paint, you know? I paint anything I like. I don't have no special things I paint. You know what I mean? If I pass and I see a building what I like, I just stop and paint it. You know what I mean? And see, somehow, now I've been downtown the back of the straw market maybe almost 24, 25 years. You know what I mean? And how this thing around, this COVID around, this got me slowly financially. So I come out of this, you know. In fact, I used to always do this. You know, I used to when I had my car, I used to be all about Michael Road, all over the place in Baintown, pink houses and things they got, you know what I mean? Oh yeah. This is my talent, this is a gift with God, so I just keep on doing it.
Now, while Lewis says the time varies to complete a painting, he says from a painter's perspective, as long as they hold on to a canvas, there is always a new element that can be added.
They're very simple, you know. In fact, a painting really never finished, you know what I mean? Every time you grab a painting is like, it's not like a house. Painting is like, every time you go to it, you could always find something to put on it. It goes from months, years, and years. Paintings, it never finished. It never finished. You always can put something to it, you know?
Stay close. We've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition.
Self-isolation means taking simple steps to avoid close contact with other people as much as possible, as you would with the seasonal flu. If you've been in close contact with somebody confirmed with COVID-19 or suspect that you have it, self-isolate for 14 days. You can self-isolate by staying indoors and away from family for 14 days. Choose a well-ventilated room with a closed door. Household members should stay in a different room, or if that is not possible, maintain a distance of at least 3 feet. Use a sealed waste basket and double bag your waste before disposal. Limit movement in your house. Stay in your assigned space away from the rest of the household. The caretaker will bring food and anything else you need. Use separate cookery and cutlery. Use a separate bathroom and clean it regularly. Use separate towels, separate cleaning linens, and clothing. If you are in need of care by household members, limit the number of caregivers. Assign one person who is in good health and has minimum risk conditions. Most importantly, remember, do not invite others over. Should you or anyone you know feel that you've been exposed to the coronavirus, contact the COVID-19 hotline at the Ministry of Health immediately. To reach us, call 376-9350, 376-9387, 300-2619, or our 24-hour hotline at 502-7382. For more information, visit covid19.gov.bs.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Ministry of Health and this television station.
Many Bahamians are now receiving food assistance, and through the Urban Renewal Program, children are not having daily hot meals. Lloyd Allen has more in this live interview.
Well, good morning again, LaDon. Good morning, Bahamas. It's a hot Wednesday morning, but this morning we're here at the Urban Renewal Office in the Flamingo Gardens community. I'm speaking with the acting director, Mr. Kellen Russell, who's talking about a lunch feeding program for children in the community, and that spanned over about 10 Urban Renewal offices, and that started over a week ago. Good morning, Mr. Russell.
Good morning, Mr. Allen.
So talk to us about what prompted Urban Renewal to actually get this project started.
One of the things that happen is Urban Renewal, normally every year we host a summer camp, whereas we have over 1,000 children. And so because we would have over 1,000 children during the summer camp where we would have free breakfast, free lunch, what we did is because of the pandemic and we are unable to have the large gatherings, the programs and projects manager, we began to sit together and we said, what can we do that we will still be able to reach the children even though it will not call for large gatherings? And so it clicked to us at the same time. Free lunch. So we would allow the children to come and pick up their lunch just as they would normally have it in the camp. But seeing that they can't sit there, we just allow them to come, allow their parents to accompany them, pick up the free lunch, and then they can go about their business for the day.
Now, just yesterday, we ran a story. We covered your Baintown as well as Fort Charlotte offices. Again, great programs. Ms. Knowles, Cheryl Knowles, talk to us about what that lunch looks like. What time do the kids come out? And what sort of queuing system do you have to minimize that contact?
Okay, what the lunch look like? We have curry chicken. We have French fries, like today, chicken and French fries. We have hamburger and fries. We have steamed chicken and white rice. And so what we do is we make sure that the staff is available. As you can see on the desk, we have hand sanitizer. Every child is sanitized. And we have the staff available to make sure that they're wearing masks as well as practicing social distancing. Like the director said already, Urban Renewal desire is to constantly try and assist and reach the children as well as parents and senior citizens in the community who are in need. And so this program is to make sure, like the director said also, every summer we have the children for the full month of July. And so we kind of use that as an opportunity to eliminate some of the stress of the parents as they're home, you know, feeding them every day. And with the pandemic in place, we saw it fit not to just let it slide, but let's see what we can still do to assist our urban communities and the parents to alleviate just a little bit of pressure off them throughout the month.
Now, Mr. Russell, as you said, the project started over a week ago. How many kids have you actually been able to facilitate? I know you have some staff members on the inside as well that start from as early as 8 o'clock in the morning preparing these meals.
Yes. So through the day, you would find out that our numbers would fluctuate through the week. And so you would find out that not a day passes, whereas we would move below the 900 quota. So you would find out every day, for the most part, it's between 900 to 1,000 children, over 1,000 children in the city that we would have been able to feed. And I said the city because, as we speak, Grand Bahama is actually doing the same thing as well as Bimini. I spoke to the manager of Bimini this morning, and she has advised me that up to yesterday, they would have had at least 90 children who came to pick up their free lunches in Bimini. And so it's about 500 persons in Grand Bahama, 100 at each of the 5 urban centers.
Now, I know that you're a Bimini, so I'm sure Bimini is getting our special attention. But again, as we wrap up, obviously as the kids come up, do you have a queuing system? Again, what protocols are in place to minimize contact to ensure that the line operates smoothly?
This is what we would have done a week or 2 weeks prior to the program kicking off on last week. What we would have done is we would have sent out the notice for parents to call the centers, and what began to happen is they would have registered. And so once they would have registered, we gave them like intermission. So you would find out the first crew is between 12 to about 12:15. We get that first rush. We let there be a 5-minute to 10-minute break, and then we go into 12:25, and then you would have the crew going straight through until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And so once they come, the police officers of Urban Renewal, they are normally present so that they can enforce the social distancing on the premise, as well as those parents that would have accompanied them. We make sure that there is social distancing. When parents accompany their children and they recognize that there is a long line, what they do is they wait in their cars, and then once there's a breakage, they come and they would follow through. And so there is order once they would have come at each of the centers, and then of course there is sanitizing to ensure that the stuff is picked up and everyone is cleaned.
All right, and so of course that's a significant assistance to the community. Many parents are obviously benefiting from that operation. You said over 900 students have been helped up to this point. And so of course parents, if you need more information on this program, you can visit the Urban Renewal website to obtain more information. Reporting here from the Flamingo Gardens Urban Renewal Office for the Morning Edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd, and it's time now for your Wednesday workout session with Natasha Brown.
Hi. If you can dream it, you can certainly do it, according to Walt Disney. We are here at the Hills in the back of the cricket club, and I've got another twist to another dynamic routine for you. Let's get right to it. remember, depending on your fitness level, you can challenge yourself. But make sure you want to do about 5 good sets of everything. And you want to stretch before and after. Until next time, I am downtown Natasha Brown, taking you closer to where you want to be.
Abuse, domestic violence, suicidal tendencies. Are you being stressed out from these problems? Call the national hotline at 422-2763 or 322-2763. There are trained social workers available 24 hours to help you. Know that you are not alone in this.
Hey y'all, what's up?
Hey, what's that?
What y'all getting?
Listen, I've been waiting to march down some logs here.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I will be you guys waited today. Can I take your order?
Oh, I've been queuing for some grouper tread.
Y'all see this?
See, this ain't gonna work.
Where the fish gone, though?
But how, though?
Don't leave our children with no fish in their future. Protect our sea. Protect our way of life. Protect the Bahamas. To learn how you can help, find us on Facebook at Bahamas Protected. See the future.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
Well, Fisher, we understand that our very own Utah Taylor, I guess, penned a new song in the midst of COVID-19. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, you know, during this time, with not much to do, a lot of people have been just trying to do some things. I know Makushla, she's been on Facebook learning how to cook. Carla Palmer's been on Facebook learning how to do some gardening. I don't know what you've been up to.
Learning how to farm.
Gator, our floor director here, he's been trying to do just about anything, learning to fix car or just to put a tire on a car. So, and a lot of persons have also been coming up with some catchy songs. You heard Your Mask, and then a lot of new videos also came out. But our own Utah Taylor, he's a very talented person. His family is talented as well, and he came up with a new song, All COVID Conscious.
We are encouraged to wear your mask, and it's even turned into some catchy songs. Now, Apostle Dr. Utah Taylor Rule brings us more conscious of what else we must also do.
Wearing your mask is important, but also washing your hand and sanitizing your hand is important as well. So I sat down and I started to write, and I had a line. It wasn't really that catchy, and then my wife, you know, writer. But when she heard it, she was like, add this line, as often as you can, wash your hands. She's a nurse, so I guess that's why she said add that line in, and that line really sold it. You know, wash your hand, wash your hand. Soap and water is what you need to wash your hand. Be consistent every day, and you will wash COVID away. As often as you can, wash your hands. She had that one line, and now I got to share the writer's royalty with her.
Song is just under 3 minutes long, and it was a family project.
My kids, all of them are really talented, and when they heard me humming it, singing it, all of them wanted a piece of it. My daughter, she said she'll sing the lead with the wife, and then my son said he'll do the harmony. And then my other son, who was a producer, you know, he said he'll produce. He ain't much of a singer. That's the second son, Utah Jr. He could manage, but he ain't much of a singer.
I hope this will be something persons will listen to and really adhere to.
I think it's a catchy song, you know. We used the hook the melody of I am blessed. I am blessed, I am blessed. So say, wash your hands, wash your hands. Soap and water is what you need to wash your hands. Be consistent every day, and you will wash COVID away. So as often as you can, wash your hands. It's extremely catchy. Turn on the faucet, pick up the soap, rub it round and round and round and round till your hand is filled with soap. Listen to authority and do it consistently. And do it obediently. Rub in your finger crack, rub on the nails to the front and back, rub it, scrub it, tug it, scrub it, COVID, you under attack, get back.
And yes, keeping safe is part of his daily routine.
Faith without works is dead. I don't know, I could this is my daily stuff. I got a bag. This is the daily stuff within my bag. You know, I got my alcohol, an X sanitizer, I got the gel, I got the Lysol, I got the beat, I got the wipes. I got everything right here. This is my daily dose. But I believe in following the law. I believe in the law of God, and I believe in the law of the land.
So when can the public hear the full song?
Well, we're dropping it right here on the Morning Edition voice. And once this is played on the Morning Edition, we're going to blast it on Facebook, on TikTok, every social media we're going to blast it. And if some other stations want it, maybe. But, you know, I locked down with ZNS, so I ain't really sending it out to them other stations. But ZNS definitely going to play it, and then social media.
We heard Massive talk about the face mask. So this one is called Wash Your Hands. Wash your hands. Wash your hands.
So you can go onto the ZNS Facebook page later on and you'll hear the whole song. I heard you laughing.
It's a very catchy song.
I like the story as well. And, you know, I always travel with my sanitizer, washing my hands. Like I said, my customer learned Facebook, to cook, color garden, Gator to clean the tires. And before we went into this COVID, we were trying to dance, and I gave you a gift certificate to a dance school. Did you ever take it up?
I took it up sometime earlier this year. I think I kind of did pretty good.
So in the next 2 weeks, I'll be interviewing you on that new dance technique that you learned.
We'll see about that.
No, ain't no see about it. Is it going to happen or not?
Possibly. We'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Fisher. Thank you so much. And we want to thank you for continuing to make ZNS your #1 news and information network. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. And that does it for us this morning. For the entire team, I'm LaDon Davis. Make it a great day.
She knows it's you, but she just let it ring. But you get swing, you get swing. You got no thing, 'cause you get swing, you get swing, you get swing, you get no thing, 'cause you get swing.